Hi all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. Thank you for subscribing to my channel if you have. And for those who haven't, please do so. I really could use your support. So now I want to talk about, excuse me, two things that I think are really important to talk about. Being the first one being yesterday's Supreme Court decision. And down the line in the video, I'm going to talk about Epstein. So just yesterday, the Supreme Court once again reinforced how racist and corrupt they are, because there is no way that you could look at that decision and think otherwise. Because the reality is that this Supreme Court held in 2013 that Americans weren't racist anymore. So they realized that they felt like we didn't need pre-clearance for some of those states, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Georgia, who have deliberately in the past have records of trying to dissuade Black voters from voting with a variety of means. They eliminated that in 2013. That was a key part of the Voting Rights Act. Basically, yesterday, they just gutted the entire thing. So what happened was that Louisiana came and tried to make a map that basically disenfranchised Black voters, and the Supreme Court allowed it. That's kind of like the simple 1, 2, 3 of it. Once again, Black people are being told, you are not important. You are not full American citizens deserving of the same rights as the rest of us. You know, the ones that look like this, especially the women who look like this, right? Because white people are the ones that are supposed to have all of the privileges, right? We're supposed to be the ones in charge. We're supposed to be the ones everyone looks to make sure that everything is okay for everybody. And that is the last thing that is in too many of our minds. What is in our mind is that we are privileged for a reason, and that those who aren't white are somehow, just by the virtue of a different color skin, not as worthy. That's how we have treated Black people since the beginning. And it has gotten somewhat better, because in the beginning, in the Constitution, they weren't even considered full human beings. Okay? We've gotten past that. But in so many ways, we really haven't, because the mindset is still in so many Americans, and especially Trump and this administration, who, in my memory, which is, decades and decades, but not hundreds of years, obviously. So I don't know the history like Heather Cox Richardson. But I can only tell you, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. The blatant racism, the acceptedness of it, the fact that people in the cabinet are just like saying, who gives a shit? Like what I do, like Hegseth, who is removing the past accomplishments of Black service members, right? You know this, right? And the Department of the Parks removing plaques about slavery and plaques about Black accomplishments, and sending white people into the African American Museum, Smithsonian African American Museum, to say that, oh, this is inappropriate for being here because it's too divisive. So the reality now is, folks, that once again, we are saying to Black Americans that you and your place in this society don't matter. Okay? We just keep saying it and saying it and saying it and expecting that something's going to change. The only thing that they're hoping that's going to change, the Republicans, the racists, is that we once again become a nation only concerned with, well, I don't want to say once again, I mean, that we continue to be a white nationalist nation. They want to add white Christian nationalist nation now because religion is infesting, and I do say infesting, everything. And again, against our Constitution. But this Supreme Court has once again announced to Black Americans, fuck you. And any less of an interpretation than that is not honest. It is not honest. So it is important to get some of the facts, to be able to say to people who say, oh, it's not that big. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It may ultimately backfire against the GOP, but that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is the statement that the Supreme Court is saying to Black America, to all Americans, that only certain people are valuable. And that's exactly what this says. Don't just try to minimize it. No, it's just about, no, it's not. It is exactly that thought. And let me just quickly go over some numbers with you that you can share with those people that, oh, racism doesn't exist, right? Really? Really? Because there are people that say that, and they are sitting on the Supreme Court. 2024, there were 11,679 reported hate crimes involving over 14,000 victims. It's the highest number on record. Anti-Black crimes were 51.3% of that. So the 47.7% left over was divided up between white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, and multiracial people. You know how much white people experienced? 15%. 15%, folks. For all of those. Well, white people get... No, we don't. You know, and whatever happens is so minimal compared to the rest of the world. Please. And the FY 2026 budget eliminated funding for hate crime prevention and training programs, loss of $30 million, and then Bondi canceled, terminated another 56 crime programs that were about 40-something million. So the idea that that the court has put forward that we're trying to, we don't have this problem anymore is absurd. The level of hate, the level that people are getting, white people are getting away with, white cops are getting away with, unfortunately, sometimes cops in general, with their attitude and their behavior toward Black people and harm and the harm they cause. I mean, this one thing says so much in terms of where we are and who we are, period. I'm going to move on to Epstein right now. So there are some updates. And first of all, Pam Bondi is testifying on May 29th. Probably be a nothing burger because, you know, even if she lies, and other people have absolutely lied to them already, you know, whether it's Richard Kahn or, you know, all these other people testifying, they've lied, okay? And there is no recourse for those lies because the DOJ is owned by Trump. So Bondi it's smart to go in there and do this because they're not going to do anything to her. She's going to get it over with. She'll get through it. She'll lie as she always does. She's going to whatever, say, how much she loves Trump and that this isn't real and blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. So anyway, that's new. The other thing, though, is bigger. And I think that this is a story that's just going to grow with more people coming forward. So Melissa Stansbury, who is the a representative from New Mexico, where the Zorro Ranch is, where Epstein's Zorro Ranch is in New Mexico. She has said that she's gone through the Epstein files and has found a civil lawsuit filed by a man who said he was invited to a party at the Zorro Ranch, was drugged and then raped, and that it happened to other males, boys that were in at the party at the same time. I don't know his age at the time. I don't know any of that. But there is also other reporting that people have kind of gone, no. Sasha Riley, which is out there, his testimony. And when I say testimony, I just mean, in general, what he's saying about a subject, not his testimony at a trial. Okay. But he has said that he too was raped as a little boy, was taken to these parties. He does. To my knowledge, he doesn't specify Zorro, but he specifies being in these different places and this happening to him and him witnessing a lot more horror than we've heard to date. So this Zorro Ranch, I believe, is going to be fruitful because also what's happening is people are currently coming to the and what's the word I'm using? Have in oh my God, my words. What happened to my words? Anyway, people have been coming to the investigation and saying, that they've had experiences. So they are digging up new information. Exactly when we'll know about that. They have a truth commission. It's bipartisan. I have no idea. But I can tell you that the more that there are more investigations, the more people are going to worry. And I'm not necessarily just talking. I'm not just talking. I don't really care whether they're worried or not of the perpetrators. I'm talking about the people who have been part of the cover-up. Because at some point, they're going to understand that they're not going to get pardoned by Trump. The guys and the guys and the women who are doing the redacting and doing it, they're not going to get pardoned. And they're going to be held accountable. We will hold them accountable. And I think we need to keep saying that. We are going to hold all of you who are doing these things accountable. You don't get to break the law and not face any consequences. So anyway, that's the latest update. Oh my God, I should go have a drink. That's the latest update on Epstein. And so please, make sure that you're engaging in lots of conversations so that we can spread some of the information, so that we can inform people. I'm not looking to try to change MAGA. I'm talking about people on our side. We need to be well informed, and we need to consistently make sure that we are telling to the best of our ability the truth, okay, and operate with integrity, because that's who we have to be. As far as I'm concerned, that's who we are, but it's who we have to be. So I'm going to go answer that call, but take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.